Welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, capital markets analyst and host of your Cannabis Business Podcast. Today we've got Katrina Glogowski. She is an attorney and local angel investor. We're going to be diving into 3-pack of paper bottling and technology. We're going to take a look at this pitch deck as it pertains to our 7 tips to a successful investment deck. Ready to jump into this?
Yes, I am, Josh. Good morning.
Good morning. So this is patented. It's cost saving. It's eco-friendly alternative to plastic bottles. Number one thing I'm thinking right off the top of my head, Katrina, is doob tubes, plastic tubes all over the world, Asia, Europe, Latin America, they're everywhere.
Yes, absolutely. Waste is a big issue in cannabis.
So right off the bat, problems is cost, waste, and pollution. 3 things that cannabis definitely could use some help with.
Agreed.
You have cost savings up to 50% by using low-cost materials, 50% reduction in capital investment, and up to 20% reduction in transportation and storage costs. You have waste that's being reduced, cutting use of plastics by 75%. And then pollution is reduced by using the materials that decompose harmlessly under natural conditions.
You know, Josh, it sounds like they are tapping into number 3 on our list of knowing your market. They've identified a problem and provided a solution. So they get a point.
Next slide jumps right into the market size. There are a lot of plastic bottles out there. There's a global reach, essentially. There's products everywhere projected to reach 1.1 trillion by 2020. List some competition. So they kind of list out their competition and what makes them better, I suppose.
Which is a further deep dive into item number 3 of understanding your market. They have identified the total addressable market, which we always like to see as an investor, and set out some of their competition.
Here's some milestones. They've got traction and validation. So they've created a minimal viable product. They have some patents, which is good. So they've got some IP.
We like that. Barriers to entry, we like that.
They've got some feedback from PepsiCo, so I'm not sure what that means. Maybe just being able to get in front of somebody like that. I don't know what that means down the line. So they list their business model. They've got an IP licensing. They can do product component sales or private label contract bottling and consumer product sales. So I would immediately look at the cannabis industry as doob tubes.
Doob tubes, also all the growth in the beverage market in the cannabis industry. Definitely applications here, Josh.
So I like to see some financials. So we're able to see some product licensing fees, component sales, contract bottling, and then all channels. So they do list that out. Year 5, you're looking at 60 million in total growth profit with some strategies for licensing with partners including beverage brands such as PepsiCo, Nestle, Coke, Kraft Heinz, Unilever, as well as bottling manufacturers or makers such as Evergreen, EcoPack, SIG, etc. And then bottlers, which is a partnership with a niche market for swift expansion of private labeling, contract bottling, and consumer product sales.
Investors always like to see financials, Josh. They get a point here. I like the future, the forward looking of where the business could go next. So good job.
And then at the very end, shows you the facilities as well as the team. So that's good. We always want to see that they've introduced the team and the products so we can see the CEO. He's got a head of research and development and strategy. They've got another director, a CTO, regional managers.
We like to see this. Number 6.
And finally, the ask. So they're seeking $380,000 for a Series A. They've raised to date $975,000, and they have a list for the use of funds to maximize patents, to represent their technology.
I like this. I think you could call this a call to action, Josh. Number 7 on the list. And there's no urgency to it. But what I like specifically about this slide is they say, this is how much we need in this time frame. And they're realistic that as time goes on, they're going to need more money. Investors like to see that. Just give me $1 million and I'll be fine. No one is fine with $1 million. You always come back. So this shows some preparation on the part of the entrepreneur here. And I like that. It shows forward thinking.
This is really well put out with the funding rounds, the time frames, the funds sought, why they're needing the money, what they're going to do with it. So it kind of explains each round what's going to happen. This isn't something that I see normally in a deck, but it's a very nice feature.
Yes, I really like that.
So we've got an appendix here, an upstream moat talks about how they have their patents, R&D, innovation, revenues.
I actually like that comparison table because one of my comments was going to be, just using straight up glass or straight up plastic. So I like that they actually have put that on there, so I can understand how much I can save, how much impact on the environment, etc. So this is really a nice slide for an investor who might be interested. This would further enable them to do research without having to ask. So good on them for including that slide. Knowing your audience definitely met number two. And
110%.
yeah, because
It's
I'm
niche because they're I think they're presenting this for a specific audience that will appreciate that. And so this is
right.
above and beyond.
Definitely. And burying it in the appendix is a good job so you don't mire down the pitch deck. Excellent. Good
Mhm.
job.
Some infographics here on the business model, the company structure, the recycling, value costs appendix. I like that.
Mhm. Yeah, somebody put a lot of thought into this deck, and it wants to provide enough information for an investor to make a decision. So very good. We don't often see this level of depth, and good job on them.
Yeah, take note. This is a great deck to use as an example. I like the tractions and milestones too. A lot of green arrows, so it's very easy to see, laid out with a lot of information packed into a small little area. Looks
Mm-hmm.
good.
Yeah.
So let's break it down. Identifying the business plan goals. I think that meets the number one point for the Talking Hedges 7 tips to a successful investment deck.
Agreed.
Number two, they know their audience. I would give them a point.
I would give them a point plus there, especially once you hit the appendix. Their knowledge and breadth of knowledge is impressive.
Mm, a point plus extra credit.
Yeah.
Number three, understanding the market. I think they understand not only the investors, but they understand a specific nuance of wanting somebody who understands the importance of going above and beyond for recycling, for additional, eco-conscious consumers, investors. So understanding the market, yeah, 1 plus extra credit for me.
Yes. Agreed.
All right. Did they identify needs and roadblocks?
Yes, they did. And this is where their depth gets into the analysis. Of course, the world needs better packaging. We all know this. So there's a need for it. And the roadblocks, quite frankly, is price. When plastic and glass are cheaper, faster, easier, that is a roadblock. But especially in the appendix where they break it down, good job. Again, a point plus. We're hovering on a perfect score here, Josh.
Don't jinx it.
I know.
So knowing what sets the business apart, I'd say that they got away with that. I don't think they focused on it too much. Maybe it was just baked into just everything, knowing that the recycling and I guess anticipating that the investor is going to want something that's different enough from recycled product. I don't know. What do you think?
I think they mentioned their patents that sets their business apart. In their competition slide, they did identify some of their competitors and some of the struggles that their competitors are facing. But one of the things, Josh, that they really didn't focus on is you and I can go into the Quickie Mart today and buy water in a box. We can buy baby food in applesauce in a plastic container and they didn't really focus on that. I'm going to give them a point, but they don't get the plus this time.
All right. Introducing the team and product definitely met that.
Oh, absolutely.
And creating a summary. Did they have a call to action?
They did set forth the ask. They did set forth the timeline in the ask. They did explain what they're going to do with the money. There's no urgency here. Uh, drop everything and write me a check today. But I'm going to give them a point.
I'd give them a point as well. I mean, even the funding rounds, it kind of lays out and draws in some FOMO, and there's movement. It's active, and then it runs into the appendices and talks about future things. And so there's an experience that almost comes from this deck that goes kind of above and beyond. So I would give them a full leaf.
I am going to say they are our first perfect score. Good on them. Congratulations.
Full leaf it is for 3 EPAC. So I want to thank my guest, Katrina Glogowski. She is an attorney and angel investor. Appreciate you being back on the show.
Thanks, Josh.
I'm Josh Kincaid. This is The Talking Hedge. By the way, if you enjoy the content, please show your support with the cushy gesture of $4.20 a month on the Talking Hedges Patreon page. This will kind of help you spread the word. I've been asked to speak all over the world, from Toronto and Colombia, Spain, Miami, all over, Tokyo. But your support's important to me. I haven't monetized the podcast. I want to be as authentic and transparent as possible. I want to avoid conflicts of interest or even the perception of paid opinions. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or pay me on the Talking Hedges Patreon page, or don't, and I'm out.